Hey everybody, I know it's been quite a while, but we are back out here today for another daily walk. So this past month or so, like month and a half, I started a new job and had some other stuff going on, so it's been really crazy, but that's okay. Today we are here at the Alafia River Corridor Nature Preserve. So I have been here before. It's been a really long time. I've never done the entire loop. Today we're going to do the red trail, and we're also going to see that little icon there for camping. We're also going to go ahead and take a look at two of the campsites because I would like to do some primitive camping here probably in the next few weeks or so. So let's get on going and on the trail. Here we have the map here and some information. This was a hiking spree trail. And here is the map. So it only shows the red trail anyways, but there's also a yellow trail here that we'll do another time. But my goal is to go out, and then I haven't decided if I'm going to go straight or take this curvy path first. But there's a campground here that's also not on the map, and one right here. So we're going to follow the red blazes today. You can see the red blaze right over here. And we are next to the Little League fields as well. So it'll be interesting to see. So far, I mean, we just got on the trail, high grass as per normal. So hopefully it's not super overgrown today. And I definitely spoke too soon, but it's still nothing like that Little Manatee State Park North hiking trail that's just absolutely covered. What I am hitting a lot of already though are spider webs, which of course you can't see on the camera, but I can see with my polarized lenses. So they are just all over the place. Now once we get off of this little entrance trail, I love the ferns here by the way, then we will be kind of on a 2-track instead of this single track path. So we'll see what the condition is once we get there. Here's where we get on the 2-track kind of road. And I just want to show you down here is a gate. So technically you could park right there. That is 39. But it's better just to park in that parking lot in my opinion. And now we're going to be on this road for quite a while. So once we hit something interesting, I will show you. But as you can see, it is nice and wide here. Very easy trail as well. And it is actually, like right now, this is actually paved. It's a really bad pavement, but it is somewhat gravel and paved as well. We're a little over half a mile in, and as you can see, we are hitting our decline. So basically at the bottom here is going to be a river crossing. There'll be a little bit of a bridge. And I just want to point out the grass. You can see that there is higher grass on the side, but the middle is nice and low. Absolutely no issues whatsoever with this trail. I know right here's a little bit of sun, but as you can see further down, it's pretty much, I would say 85% shaded. So this is definitely a good option for the summertime. And even right here, as we're going down, trail is very hard packed, so no issues there. And this will be our one river view of the day. See if we can see anything down here. Very peaceful, really great place to stop, have a drink of water, have a snack before continuing on. And of course the other side. Over here to the right, we have a sign for Bobcat. And this is actually one of the primitive campgrounds. This is the one that I said that there was another campground, but it wasn't on the map. This is the closest one to the trailhead. So let's go ahead and go down there and see what this campground looks like. Well, this looks like it's it. It's just one little fire ring. You have a decent amount of clearing over here to pitch a tent. I'm trying to look around, like if you wanted to do a hammock. I don't really see any trees to do a hammock. But if you were to camp here, you have a pretty nice surroundings. Like I said, I mean, you do have a pretty good amount of clear area as well. So again, this is the Bobcat Campground. In case you weren't aware, this nature preserve is actually an old phosphate mine. And you can kind of see the divot here. You can see one on the other side as well. These have been kind of like all over the place, these little gullies. But this is kind of the most defined one I've seen so far, so I just wanted to show you it. And that's also why we're getting some elevation here, because, you know, this area was highly influenced by humans. And so what's interesting about it is it's just an example of what happens when, you know, basically nature takes back over an area. So I'm not sure how long ago this was an abandoned phosphate mine, how long it took to get to this state, because the trees are quite big. But it's just a little interesting tidbit of information if you are going to come here. So this is really interesting straight ahead. I wasn't expecting this. It's just a big open field up here. So that's pretty interesting. I bet if we came earlier in the morning, we'd see deer and all kinds of fun stuff, or in the evening. These types of trails that have a lot of trees but then do have this open space, these are like the perfect trails for Florida, just because, yeah, you mostly are in the shade. What the heck is that over there? Do you see that? Oh, this just got really interesting. Okay, let me finish my thought first. But yeah, these are like the most perfect places for a very early morning or an evening hike, just because you typically can see a ton of wildlife in these open spaces. So we're getting closer to this formation that we saw all the way back there. And there is a little path that leads to it. So you know I have to go back there, or at least get somewhat closer. And what's really interesting is, as you can see, the whole area slopes upwards as well. What a weird place. I bet there's a geocache back here too, but I'm not in the mood for geocaching today for some reason. So I'm going to skip all that. So I'm up at the top of this hill and there's a little trail marker over here. But then look, it says the red trail's up here. And then this one says, okay, this one says no pedestrians. That probably leads, what the heck? I'm gonna have to check my geocaching app, because that's the red trail all the way up here. All right, so I went into geocaching and it looks like this trail may be what we come back on. This may be part of the red trail, but we're gonna continue straight down there like we were going. Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure this one out. And then up here, this is that old, I don't know, building. You can see the kind of like the monuments. Really interesting. Not what I was expecting to see today, that's for sure. All right, I'm back on this main trail now, and I am certain this was just the switch up for when we come back on the red trail. So we'll actually be coming down this path later. So for now, I want to get the heat out of the way and get this part of the trail done. Since it is all the way in the sun, I think we have about another 3/4 of a mile to a mile to go on this. So let's just go ahead and get the hot part done. Very pretty, delicate grasses here. You hear the big, massive grasshoppers as well. And although I'm not a fan of these unshaded areas, as you guys know, the fact that it's, well packed, low grass, I'm not complaining too bad. But next time I come here, I would definitely come as early in the morning as possible. It's still pretty early. It's not even 9 o'clock here yet. But yeah, I definitely would not be doing this one any later than now. Yeah, definitely come way earlier than I did. This is getting really hot and miserable on this one straight path. So, you know, again, if you are going to come here, do this one early. And yes, that is a machete in my backpack. Something I wasn't expecting to see today is we have a railroad crossing over here. So this is the boundary of the preserve, so obviously we're not going to go over there, and there's no trespassing. But just kind of interesting to see this. I don't know, it looks like, I mean, that's newer asphalt anyway, so I'm assuming they still use this. But these phosphate mines, that's how they transport the materials to the shipyard, is on trains, so I'm not surprised to see that here. Over here's another good piece of evidence for the old phosphate mine. You can see this one is really obvious, how steep it is and how far down it goes. Big trench on the side of the walkway, and the other side of the walkway is going to be that train over there. And over here we have the path to Otter, which is the furthest campground. So again, we came all the way from down there to Otter. So let's go take a look at this one. This is a cool trail to Otter. Look how far down that goes. I know on camera it doesn't show how steep it is. We have to be 30 to 40 feet tall up here, or high up here. And it's on both sides, and you're just kind of walking down the middle. That is cool. Here you can kind of see a little bit better because you can see the pond down there with all the film on it. But yeah, we are pretty high up compared to down there. Look at that. Where else in Florida do you get a view like that? Beautiful butterfly. I'm loving this path to Otter. Look at this in here. It's like Jurassic Park with all the ferns and the different elevations. This is so cool. It's been so hard to capture these spider webs, but this one you could see, because you could see the spider hanging right in the middle right there. All right, so this is the Otter area, and I can tell it's the Otter area because down there we have a fire pit. So we have this really wide open space. There's only one fire pit that I can see down there. It looks like this used to be another fire pit. But this is a huge space. So very, very different from Bobcat in that you do have all of this room. Now, Bobcat was right off the trail. This one was pretty far back, about 0.15 miles or so back from, from the trail. But I'm already seeing some really interesting features. So we got a good amount of shade here and some trees if you want to do a hammock. But what I'm also seeing is that if you keep going down, I'm not going to go all the way down there. I don't feel like, well, screw it, whatever. I'll just go down here. You have a little view. So, I mean, one of the negatives of this, the pro is this nice little view. The con would be proximity to water, if you're sleeping at night. But yeah, definitely, this is another thing I definitely was not expecting. And this is beautiful. I feel like as I'm down here, that old computer game, Amazon Trail, Looking for Everything? You have one of those snake birds. You have tons of birds flying around. Here comes another one flying. Where is it? Here it is. When you gotta find all the animals in the Amazon River. This is very, very much giving off those vibes, which is kind of cool. But a very good place for birding. Lots of different birds I can see here. All right, so I'm just sitting here in the grass in the shade at the Otter campground before I head back and finish this loop up. I'd say we're about halfway done. It's going to be a significant amount of miles. We're at 2.73 right now. One thing I'm surprised about with these campgrounds is actually how primitive they are. I thought for sure they would at least have a bench or something, but they don't. So here I am sitting my ass in the grass. But you know, which one would I stay at? I think probably I would actually, like if I was here with friends, I would definitely stay at this one, the Otter, just because you have the water here. It's beautiful here. But if it was just me, I actually would probably just camp out at Bobcat. So I think, sorry, I don't know if you could hear that. There's a helicopter. I can't see it yet, but it sounds really low. Yeah, I would probably do Bobcat. I think that's the one that I'm probably going to book. It's really easy to get to. I can do the dog. Don't have to worry about snakes and water and all that craziness. But yeah, if I was going to be going with a group or something, this would definitely be the one. Otter would definitely be the one. Again, I know this isn't captured well on video, but I mean, just the vistas here, you know, as I'm walking back from the Otter camp to the main trail, it's just incredible how high up we are. And to have on both sides where we're just on this berm is just so cool. You know, and again, it's like, this isn't that exciting, but if you live in Central Florida and you're looking for something like this, you know, something with a little elevation, you can see the kind of the cliff on that side over there too. It's at least something for us Floridians. We're rounding the corner now. We're gonna head this way, and we are finally off this long stretch of nothingness back into the woods. Now, one thing I'll say about this campground is if you do want to come here, you don't have to go through this long stretch of nothingness. You can do this part of the loop, just do it counterclockwise, and you will end up at that same spot. It's going to be a longer hike. However, if you don't really care about the distance and you want to do maybe a more enjoyable trail, that's probably what I would do to get to that campground personally. So overall, this trail isn't spectacularly better, this part of the trail, versus the one we came in on. It does have at least some shade, which is nice, some sporadic shade, but it is just kind of a lot of grass and kind of boring. So I just wanted to show you guys that. Now this is the type of trail I like. Look how spooky it looks down there with the trees. You have this big cliff berm thing over here. So we just came through a bunch of sand, but it wasn't bad sand once again. It was hard packed, so it wasn't, you know, horrible, but I wish all the trails were like this. This is like my dream. Well, the trail got very interesting here, very rugged. And we have on the right side a nice little swampy area. We had one on the left side as well as we were kind of walking this way. And I'm the only one out here. I don't think I mentioned that before. I don't think I've ever actually, even when I've driven by this place, I don't think I've ever actually seen another car here except for maybe one time. So if you do come here, definitely expect to be all alone and plan accordingly. You know, it's nice to be all alone, but at the same point in time, you know, if something happens, you are out here alone. So always make sure when you're going to a place like this, you let someone know where you are. Bring some supplies. Always bring food and water. Bring some safety equipment. Today I have my machete. I always carry my machete with me because I am afraid of pigs. And I also always carry pepper spray with me. But if you want something more lethal, you know, you could bring that too. We just came up that hill, and this is where the path separates. So to the left, we have the yellow trail. To the right, we have the red trail. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go down the yellow trail a little bit. I'm going to double check my map. But I believe down here is the third and final campground. And if so, I'm going to go and take a look at it for you. So I checked the map, and there are two places where the red and yellow merge together, and this is not the correct one for the campground. So we're going to head north back on the red trail. This grass is basically what it's been this entire back half of this trail. It's not miserable yet. It's doable. It's, you know, less than 6 inches tall. It's just a bit annoying. But if this grass got any higher, it would definitely be a big issue. And as you can see, the grass is not ending anytime soon. So, you know, that front half, yeah, it was out in the sun. It was just kind of like nothing to look at, but this back half isn't much better, to be honest. All right, just came up this monster of a hill, and now we are at the junction where if I go left down this yellow path a little bit, I'll get to the next campground. So that's what I'm gonna do, and then we will head back on the red trail and be out of here. So this campground is really hard to find because you actually get off the yellow trail and then there's a loop, and it's like, well, which way on the loop do I go? There's no signs for it. So I think I'm on the right track now. I'm gonna go a little bit further, and if I don't find it, I'm just gonna head out. You ever wonder what happens to those balloons you set off in the air? Well, here they are. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and tie them to me and take them out as trash. What do you guys think? Definitely a vibe, right? Yeah, don't do that. When I say this campground is hard to find, or was hard to find, I mean it. Look where the sign is. I was just about to turn around. I'm like, where is this place? And there it is. So we came from all the way over there. I walked all the way back to these trees. And I'm like, where the heck is the campground? Well, I think I found it over here. So I see one ring and a couple of places for people to sit. And that's pretty much it. And I'm going to be honest, out of the three, I think this one's my favorite. Because you have this nice tree here, you have all this shade. Ain't nobody coming down here, that's for sure. So yeah, I think this one might be the best. All right, well, that was way more than enough excitement for me. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna head back out on yellow, get back to the red, and get out of here. I know you can't see it, it's down this path over here, but you can probably hear it. They're actually out here at the lawnmowers today. So they just went down this part of the yellow loop. I can smell the grass and everything too that they're cutting up. But yeah, they're mowing the lawn. How cool is that? That's so good to see on these trails because, I mean, otherwise the grass just gets so ridiculous. If you look down, you can almost see the orange triangle. See that little orange triangle in the middle? That's the back of the mower. So very nice. Another beautiful trail here. This last part of the red trail before we get back to that main path that'll bring us back to the car. Just loving this shade. I really needed it. I honestly thought I was only going to be doing like 3 to 4 miles today, and we're already almost at 6, and we have about 1.5 miles left to go. So any bit of shade is definitely helping right now. Here's something you don't see all the time is some eggs, and they're super they're really thick. We have a bunch over here. Almost looks like they would be like alligator or something, but I feel like they're almost too hard for that. A couple more interesting things you sometimes see in Florida. We have some orange trees here. Got one there. And down the bottom, another one. And we're going to be sharing the trail right here with a gopher tortoise. I just think they're so cute. He's hiding now from me. Just make sure if you ever see them, they are protected, so you don't want to touch them or disturb them. But you can certainly look at them. In just a moment, you will notice a very familiar formation on our left. And the trail is supposed to go straight ahead, but I already know that we have a little shortcut over here that we took before. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take our little shortcut and head back to that main red trail. And we're about a mile, a little more than a mile out now, so it's not that bad. About definitely less than 30 minutes left to go. And normally, I mean, doing extra miles is not, it's whatever. Like I planned, I thought it was going to be 3 or 4, it turned into over 7. That's fine, with the exception of I wish I'd been out here an hour earlier this morning if I knew I was going to do an extra hour of walking. Just to help out with the heat because it's getting pretty bad now. When we get back to the car, we'll have to see what temperature it says, but it's definitely hot. We have quite a few tortoises out now. So we have one right here off the trail, chilling. And then this one's kind of interesting. We have this one going into its burrow. And just like that, we are back to the start. We have here just over, hold on, that's not many miles. About 7.35 miles that we completed. So definitely a lot more than I was expecting. Like I said, the big thing is I wish I just had started earlier if I was going to do that much, but that's all right. We finished it up. So thanks so much for joining me today. Let me know what you think about this trail, and I will see you on the next one.